What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Lord Big Head here with you, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams going into Week 6. If you are not already a part of the Catch fam, we certainly encourage you to hit that subscribe button below. Join the best community in all of fantasy football. And also, if you do enjoy this content, we appreciate if you hit that like button below, and also jump into those comments and leave me any questions or concerns or advice that you have at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, or defense ahead of this weekend slate of games so we can help set up your teams for you. But with all that said, let's get into it. Let's get into the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams going into Week 6. Up in number 1, we're talking about the little engine who could. We're talking about Nick Folk, the kicker for the Tennessee Titans, baby. He is just one of my favorite guys in this world, not alone one of my favorite kickers in this world, guys. Right now, number 4 on the season. He's been getting it done at a high volume, guys. Last week, double-digit performance, and he had one from deep at the 50-plus range, guys. That is what Nick Folk does. He gets a ton of opportunities and a ton of consistency to back it up. When he was in New England, we saw a lot of that with Nick Folk, that he's going to get the chance because the coaching staff believes in him and he's in a good system which values points on every possession. Very much so the same situation with Tennessee. They love to get points on the board, especially because their offense is not great, right? Going up against the Baltimore Ravens, I expect a very, very similar game script to what we saw last week when they played the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is going to be relatively low scoring. I think both kickers are going to be needed here. I am kind of fading Justin Tucker right now. I would absolutely start Nick Folk over Justin Tucker. I think he's going to be great here. Again, 12 points last week, 11 points before that. He has had 18 fantasy points this season in one game. He had that week 1 against the New Orleans Saints. I love this. It's a green matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. Juicy opportunity, means a juicy streaming candidate. This guy is so widely available in leagues too. Under 20% rostered. Go get you some Nick Folk. Up next, we're talking about Brandon Aubrey, the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys, guys. I'm really excited about this Dallas Cowboys Los Angeles Chargers matchup. I think that this is going to be a game which hopefully boosts the Dallas Cowboys offense a little bit. I mean, obviously they were stifled against the San Francisco 49ers, who absolutely destroyed them, which also led to our guy, Brandon Aubrey, only having 6 fantasy points, right? Didn't really expect that he would go absolutely nuclear in that matchup against the 49ers, which are relatively tough. But the 3 weekends before that, he had 12, 11, and 18. Right, so this is a dude who's been getting it done all season long. Still one of the best kickers on the year. Right now, number 3 on the year, guys. Despite having under double digits last week against 49ers. This week against the Chargers, right, they're not one of the best matchups, but I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities here for Brandon Aubrey to put some points on the board. I think he's going to get the chances. And I think this Dallas Cowboys team is going to really want to come back hungry against the Chargers team after the absolute embarrassing loss they just took against the 49ers. I do expect the Chargers to be right there too, really hungry to get some points out there as well, coming off the bye week, right? A lot of focus, a lot of prep for this Dallas Cowboys defense. I'm not as excited about Cameron Dicker, which is the Cowboys are kind of a tough matchup for kicker position, even shutting down Jake Moody. But I think Aubrey here is a good opportunity to go ahead and start. And guys, again, I mean, they've got the bye week coming up, but this is one of the best kickers that you're going to have all season long. Coming off the bye week, he's got the Los Angeles Rams, so he'll definitely be back in the queue here at the must-start kicker list. Up next, we're talking about Brett Maher, the kicker for the Los Angeles Rams. A couple of these guys have really been repeat customers here, and that's because I still see them so widely available. Maher has been very good this year. For the Los Angeles Rams, ex-Dallas Cowboy, as I've mentioned before, 2 fantasy points against Philadelphia Eagles, right? So a major reason I want to highlight this guy is because I think if he was not already available in some of your leagues, I think a lot of people are going to drop it like it's hot on the waivers, and he's going to be out there available, right? Boom. Big rookie mistake on their end. The Philadelphia Eagles are super difficult to play against for the kickers. Dallas and the Rams just really didn't have a whole lot of opportunities there for the kicker position. Trailing a little bit throughout that game. The offense really needed to focus on touchdowns at that point. I think Brett Maher is a big bounce back opportunity here against the Arizona Cardinals, which are an absolute juicy matchup, guys. Maher has had 4 out of 5 games be double-digit performances. That is absolute gold for the kicker position. Consistency, and those are the type of games right there that just give you absolute competitive advantage against your opponent, which is why he's a top 5 kicker, guys. And I think that this continues this season. After the Arizona Cardinals, he has the Pittsburgh Steelers, so it's a little bit but then after that, he's got the Dallas Cowboys. So I think this is a great matchup to use our guy Maher. But after that, maybe I do recommend moving on from for a couple weeks. But absolutely light him up this week for your must-start kickers. Up next, we're talking about Greg Joseph, the kicker, the teammate of Justin Jefferson. Rest in peace. I'm very sorry for all the fantasy owners who had Justin Jefferson. Very sad news that he will be shelved on the IR spot. And who knows for how long, given the fact that there's some uncertainty if he does come back, if they're not winning ball games, and they do not look good right now. But one thing that's still looking good is the offense does seem to be consistently moving the ball. I think that they're still going to be good without Justin Jefferson, to be honest. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think Jordan Addison, I think Osborne, I think some of the playmakers on this team, I think Kirk Cousins just alone is going to be able to move the ball down the field, especially against a very bad Chicago Bears defense. I think they're definitely going to be able to move the ball down the field. I love Greg Joseph in this opportunity. He had 9 fantasy points against the Kansas City Chiefs defense, which is one of the hardest opponents against kicker position. Chicago Bears are one of the easiest opponents against the kicker position. So I would definitely throw this dude in your lineup. I think he's, in the past been one of the biggest upside kickers where he's just got some absolute ceiling. We could see that here against Chicago Bears in a division rivalry, which has 2 terrible defenses, which has 2 offenses that know how to put up some points. So I think this could be a fun game. I think this could be a high scoring game potentially just because the defenses are terrible and both kickers should eat, right? So maybe take a look at the Chicago Bears kicker too, Santos, if he's available as well. But I do like Greg Joseph a little bit more here. Next kicker I'm going to talk about here is Kaif Fairbairn for the Houston Texans, right? I'm loving this Houston Texans team. I think they're doing really good things right there. One of the things that they've held consistent from last year over to this year is their kicker, Fairbairn, man. He's been fantastic. I might be mispronouncing his name, but this guy's just absolutely delightful at the kicker position, right? Number 2 on the season right now, guys. Not mentioned yet on the videos, but man, he's going to be mentioned more often. New Orleans Saints is actually a pretty juicy matchup for the kicker position. I think it's because they do a little bit of bend but don't break, where they let the offenses move down the field just enough for field goal range, but then they stop them from touchdowns. I think this is going to be a competitive game between the Texans and the Saints. I think the Texans get it done. I think the defense plays pretty well. But I think ultimately Kaif Fairbairn is a big piece of why they win this game. We have seen this dude thrive all season long. He's had 3 out of 5 weeks in the double-digit range, and his other 2 weeks he had 9 and 7, right? So absolutely the kind of guy who's going to put you right in that position of he's not going to kill you, right? But he also might give you serious competitive advantage on a weekly basis. This is an absolutely juicy matchup. I love Kaif Fairbairn. I think he could be an absolute perfect play here. Go ahead and get you some of that Texans offense, guys. People are hating on it, but it is sneakily becoming one of the most delightful offenses and special teams units to get your hands on. And this defense is riling up too. I like what the Texans are doing. Let's go, Houston Texans. Let's go, Kaif Fairbairn. With all that said, guys, this has been the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams going into week 6. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to hit that like button below. Super appreciate it. And also make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the best community in all of fantasy football, guys. Come on and get in the chat too, get in those comments and let me know what questions you have or any advice that you need at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, or defense, and we'll help set up your rosters ahead of this weekend slate of games, guys. But with all that said, this has been the must-start kickers. And remember, you saw it here first at the catch.